All right, I'm going to see if I can reproduce this sequence. So this is what we're trying to get to. So these planks or ribs that line up to suggest the curve above it. You could cover that with wax, or you could print that out on the laser cutter, glue it all together, cover it with wax, pour plaster on it, and you'd get that form. So to do that, I want to start by making the plank. That seems to be the really important part of it. So I'm going to make the plank. I go to families and generic model adaptive. And I'm going to make 6 points for the top edge of the plank and 6 points for the bottom edge of the plank. I'm going to put them kind of in rows so they're easier to select and easier to identify. You know, but this is three-dimensional space. They're not where they look like they are. So I've got those, and I'm going to select the top ones. 3 of them, and then I'll do Control Select to get the rest of them, and I'll draw a line through them, and I'll get the bottom ones. I'll just Control Select. It's pretty easy. And put a line through those and these 2 end ones here, and put a straight line through that, and these, and put a straight line through that. And now I've got this shape, adaptive shape, and if I collect the chain, I can create a form, and I can tell it the thickness of that form. Let's make it 1 foot, and there I've got a rib. And of course, this is adaptive. I can push and pull things up and down and around and in all sorts of ways. The dimensions don't matter. It is fully adaptive. Now, the next step is I need to create a surface to put that on. It's going to be a divided surface. So I go to conceptual mass, and I get my mass out. And I've got my mass editor. It's family 13. And I'm going to draw this in plan. So I'm going to create a plane, to sort of define my my wall. I'm drawing it in plan, but I can rotate it up and use it as a wall later. It's going to be 12 feet tall and 24 feet long, like that. No, that's bigger than I want. I just want it to be. Well, just for demo purposes, I'm just going to make it 6 feet tall and 12 feet long. And I'm just going to draw some profiles for it. Like this. And I'm going to draw 6 of them. Actually, maybe I can just copy those. So I've got 6 of them. And if I select them, I can create a form. If I look at it in 3D, I can see that form. If I select that form and X-ray it, I can see the points. I can pick the points and push and pull them to make a curved surface. So I'm getting a nice curved surface here. And that's good enough for now. It can always be changed. Remember that. So, so I've got my curved surface, and I'm going to divide the surface. Like that. Oops. Oh yeah. I'll pick the form element and turn off X-ray so I can see the divided surface here. And now I don't really need the form element anymore right now. So I'm going to pick the form element and I'm going to hide it. And now I just see the divided surface. And I'm using UV grids to determine the points. Now, the UV grid has some real limitations to it. You know, it's good in a lot of ways, but it's not so good in some other ways. And if we look at this, we can start to see how the UV grid works. And or maybe we won't really be able to see, but yeah, we can see in here. So so you can see that the nodes are not lined up. The nodes are you know, all kind of twisted and mixed up on each of these grid lines. And the reason for that is that the grid is determined by the ISO line. So the distance from here to here is the same as the distance from here to here, and the same from here to here, and the same from here to here, and so on, which means that the curves don't line up because obviously this curved line is longer than this curved line. So the spacing between them is different, and that, you know, means that when we put a plank on it, it won't be straight up and down. It will be twisted and turned, and it's really hard to manufacture that. It's easy to cut it out of on a laser cutter out of a flat plywood piece or something, and glue it together and get the if they're straight up and down. So so I need them to be straight up and down. And the way Revit, and you see it here too, that they twist and they turn and they're not straight. So I need them to be straight. And the way I do that is I use what are called intersects to do it. And so I've got that distance 6 feet. I'm actually going to change that to be 8 feet. And this is just a matter of experience. Tells me it works better this way. And I'm getting my form element. Actually, I'm going to hide the divided surface. And I've got my form element. I edit the profile of it. This is not really working out very well. So I'm just going to back up. Easier. I want to keep it easy. So so 6 by 12. Now, I'm going to create reference planes in here. Like this. And these are called intersects because they're going to intersect the divided surface to create nodes. Create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to create 6 of them. Now, and I'm going to equally space these. And I want to control where they are or how wide that is. There we go. So it's 4 feet, 10 inches. Let's just make it 4 feet. And I'm going to create intersects in the other direction. So I'll draw 1 and then I'm going to copy it 10 times. Actually, I'm going to copy it 9 times. And I'll create a dimension across there. And make them equal. And I want to test that to see if it's right. No, it's not. I need one more. So I'm going to draw one more. Actually, I'm going to pull that one in like that. And I copy this one over like that. And I can pick this and I can add another witness line over here like that. And pick it and whoops, didn't quite get that. And let's see if I'm getting the dimension I want. No, I'm still not quite what I want. I need to make this 10 feet across here. Now, did I get it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're 1 foot apart, 10 feet in that direction and 4 in that direction. Now, my next step is I want to take that divided surface. I'll select it. I want to turn the grids off. And so now it has no nodes on it. And I'll select that divided surface. I don't really want to see the surface. I'm going to use intersects to look at it, to split it. So I'm going to pick those as my intersects and hold the control key down and pick these as my intersects. And I'll tell it finish. And now I've got nodes at those locations. And I can look at it above and I can look at it from the south and you see the nodes are lined up vertically, perfectly. So that's what I want. Now the next thing is that if I were to place a family 9 on this, that's not the right one. family 12 on here. Place that on 13. What happens? Notice I'm not picking the edge ones. I just find the edge ones behave differently. Yeah, that's not going to work. It's the wrong object. But anyway, so I placed it on there, and you'll see that it's on there, but it's really weirdly twisted, and I want it to be straight up and down. So in order to get it straight up and down, I have to take one more step here. So I'm going to pick this and I'm going to drag this down. If it'll let me, there we go. And it doesn't really matter what the distance is here, but you know, I like to keep things orderly. So I'll put a dimension line on there, change this so I can see it. And pick down here and make it 2 feet down like that. And this is a level named level 2. I'm going to create a floor plan of level 2. And I'm going to draw another surface here. Turn 3D snapping off. And it doesn't really matter how big that surface is. So I'm just going to draw a surface, create it, and look at it in 3D, make sure it's there. It is there. It's way too big. Delete the top, and all I have is a surface down here. And I want to divide that surface in exactly the same way I divided it before. So I've got a level 2 here. I can pick that surface. Whoops. Tab, surface. And I'm going to divide the surface. I'm going to turn the grids off. And I'm going to use intersects again. So those and these and finish. And let's look at it in 3D. And so I have my divided surface, this rectangle underneath the other one. And I'm going to change it to see the nodes. I don't want to see the grid this time. I just want to see the nodes. And I see the nodes. And if I kind of look at it from a side view, you see that the nodes are in a nice line with the other, upper surface. So now I have 2 surfaces there that are perfectly aligned on that grid of intersects. And if I move this around carefully, sort of keeping track of this a bit. I'll get around to the south side here. And I want to put a plank following that curve and pull the bottom down to these 6 points. So by pulling the bottom down to the points directly below it, below these points, then I'll get a what I'm trying to get. Now, I may be able to make this work with just a line. Put one here. Now, that's not going to work. Maybe it'll work this way. I'm not sure. No, I can't snap to it. So I'm not going to try that. Okay, so I'll go back to my family 12. I've already loaded it in. I can load it in again, doesn't hurt. And go to that 3D view and create a family 12. And the top edge will be this, this, this. And the bottom edge will be that, 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 and that. And I got a rib there. And you see, if I look at it from the side, it's perfectly straight up and down. Now, if I click on that, select it, I'll repeat it. And it says there's an error in it. Not quite sure what that error is. Yeah, let's back up a little bit. And I'm going to try it again. I'm going to place it on not sure which one I did before. Place it here, here. And it is kind of a pain because you've got to find the right one. I messed up. I want to spin it so I can see my points more clearly. Okay, I think I see them. So I'm going to place it here, here, here. This row here. Okay. Let's pick it, see if we can repeat it. And that time we got it. So, so the difference here is that I placed it on the end, and sometimes the end just doesn't work right. It snaps to the wrong point somehow, but so I place it in the middle and it still goes out to the ends. Now these end ones, you can see they're weird. Don't like them. I can tab select the end and delete it, and tab select the other end and delete it. But I've got that that form now interpreted as a series of planks. Now, obviously, if the planks were smaller or narrower and I had more of them, I would get a smoother curve. But this is just a demonstration. All I'd have to do is create more intersects and repeat it again, and repeat one across there and get that kind of form. Now, if I were to print this or 3D laser cut it, what I might do is take my East view and duplicate it and duplicate it again and duplicate it again. Basically duplicate it once for each element. Now, once I got it all the way I want it, I can remove the repeater. And now I just have those objects. And I can click on one and I can isolate it. And pick the second one and isolate it, and pick the third one, and so on through isolating all of them like that. Now, these first two, I could maybe pick those and hide them. So now I see the next one underneath, and so on. So I could isolate those. Now, one refinement I want to do is I want to go back to my family 12 and I want to create a parameter on it. And that parameter is going to be index. So experience with parametric modeling and fabricating these things is you better number them, you better name them, you better identify them in some way that you can use them. And in Revit, it's a bit elaborate to do this, but I have to create a shared parameter. I'll select a shared parameter. I'll create a shared parameter file here. And I'll create a new group, and it'll be names. And I'll create a new parameter, and I'll call it a text parameter, and it's going to be let's just call it ID. And then I will add that parameter to my model, and I have a shared parameter here. And so this has a number or has a name. I used a text and not a number because I don't care about adding these things together. I just want to have a text, and then I can give it an ID. So 1, 2, 3. You get the picture. Name them all. Often I name them like 001, 002, because if I've got 100 of them, I don't, it's just nice to have them numerically sort that way. Now, if I go to this East here, I can look at it. See, that is indeed 1. Now I can load it into a project. Yeah. And I'm not going to do it right now. Maybe I can catch up with this, but so I've numbered them here, I've given them an ID. I can load them into a project, And then I can put a tag on each of the views, so that now that number is on, that ID is on the view. And when I laser cut it, I can laser etch that number into the view. So, so then when I get them out off the laser cutter, they're all not nicely numbered. I can put them together and I'm just ready to go. I can glue them together and I can go on to my casting phase.